Almost 80% of Australians are regularly using social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, or LinkedIn. What's more, 58% of Aussies check social media as soon as they wake up, and the average Australian spends up to 4 hours a day on social media.
Welcome to the Marketing Mentors podcast, brought to you by Red Pandas Digital. My name's Tasha, and I'm joined today with the lovely Linda, as always. And if you didn't pick up on Linda's intro, we are talking about social media and its toxic effects that it can have really on anyone. Now, I'm sure we've all heard about it, or we've seen it in a friend or a colleague or a family member, but social media can be really toxic and it can be really unhealthy. And you know, we've all been on social media cleanses. I know I personally do it every now and then.
Yeah.
Or when I go somewhere and there's no reception, it's a nice breath of fresh air to not have to look at my news feed or hear bings and pops and buzzes and all that type of stuff. So because we can talk about this for hours, we've got three main topics that we really want to get into in our podcast episode today. And the first one, if you had nothing else to add, is going to be the idea that social media is an unreal reality. So when we go on to Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, I'll talk about LinkedIn a little bit separately, but when we go on to these social media platforms, we are seeing what other people explicitly choose to put online and show and showcase about themselves and about their life. And I know this one hits home to me personally a year and a half ago when I had Zoe, my little one, and I was recovering from postpartum and birth. The first 6 weeks was intense. Like, I was crying constantly, she was crying constantly, and it wasn't this blissful, beautiful experience that a lot of people that I was following on social media at the time was experiencing. And they'd put these pictures of the baby sleeping up in their arms and say, oh, what an incredible time. Don't get me wrong, it's an incredible time, but it's bloody stressful, and it was exhausting for me. And I remember in that moment of me being on social media, I was going, my life's not like this. Why is my life not like this? And not only was I going through these postpartum hormones and emotions, but then I was also seeing this unreal reality that other women were putting up online about their life with their beautiful, happy newborn baby.
Or maybe not even so much unreal reality, T, but we enjoy putting up things that are positive and sharing the positive stuff and not the negative. But what can happen from that is, as we're scrolling on our news feed, we're only seeing these positive things come through.
Exactly.
And not to say that they're not positive in that moment and they're not having a really good time, but naturally, because we want to share those great things, and naturally we don't want to share the negative things that are happening to us unless we're going out of our way to really make it known that, hey, life isn't all just sunshine and rainbows and these things do exist. Naturally, we're inclined to do that. But unfortunately, what that does, like you say, is create that negative experience online where then you start to really compare yourself to other people.
Exactly. And we'll talk about comparisons in a bit. But this idea of there are filters on things. There are filters on the way people look, on the way people sound.
It all started so innocent, right? Yeah. Filters started so simple, just like cartoons, like dog ears, and now it's become this excessive face-altering type thing where like people's noses are different, their jawlines are thinner,
they don't
their
look
eyes
like
are
who
bigger.
they're meant to be.
Yeah.
Remember that client you had that wanted like a filter applied on her video because she didn't like the way she looked? And it's that is an effect of social media toxicity on someone. And like, we'd done this video for them, but she just did not like the way she looked. She wanted us to put a filter on. We're like, oh honey, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's just your face. No, that's me.
Tasha.
But I hear you, and people are, and that's, Linda, that's not to say you can't post the positives. And we are going to talk a little bit about, the balance of social media. But the unreal reality is that someone might be really depressed or anxious or sad, and they're posting up all these beautiful moments of their life, and they're putting this unreal reality out there that they're fine. Yeah. But really inside they're hurt and they're hurting.
Well, we see celebrities, they're notoriously known for and being called out for, filtering images, changing images. And unfortunately, the people that are like, when you have your reality stars, for example, you have all these young children and adolescents that are following these celebrities. And now, as we know in studies, it's starting to really be shown that they're experiencing, like you say, this depression, this body dysmorphia. They have these unrealistic expectations of what they should look like,
because
what they should sound like. Yeah, exactly right.
And why, Linda? Take us on to point 2. Why are we on social media all the time?
Well, like to bring it down to basics, dopamine, right? It's a chemical reaction in our brain, and basically it makes us feel good.
Yep.
Dopamine is like our feel good kind of center in our mind. And when we are on social media and we're getting likes and follows, what that does is create that little dopamine hit in our mind. And there's this study in Harvard, and it's so crazy when I had learnt about it. But basically, it was saying that it was a 2018 study, and it's found that validation from likes on social media stimulates the brain similar to how cocaine does, just not as intensely. And so with social media, we know that the algorithm, it really is built on leveraging and playing off our dopamine.
Yep.
And it's this constant cycle that we're in where we seek to get so many likes and follows and notifications, and we're in this loop that we sometimes are not aware of, and we're getting these dopamine hits, and it's feeding into our own addiction, which is causing mental health issues.
These platforms are designed to keep you there longer. I'm pretty sure Facebook's openly come out and said,
totally,
we are going to reward your ads that keep the users in the Facebook app. And so we obviously have changed the way we do certain marketing tactics. But when you are being subconsciously held somewhere and you're being fed this content, and you're right, like watching those metrics like views and clicks and follows and actions and all that type of stuff, that's where it's that dopamine gets ping, 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 like, and you keep checking your phone. Like, my phone's not here right now because I know that if it was, I'd be tempted to flip it over and see if I've had any messages in the last, 10 minutes we've been talking.
There was this really interesting study that you and I were looking at earlier, and it was the fact that our phone placement in the office, and how we're seeing that.
Simon Sinek, if anyone's listening. Yeah,
that's
very
right.
Interesting.
What he was saying is that older people, because they haven't been around social media so long and developed that addiction to their phone, when they're at work, their phone is usually to the side of them.
Yep, face down. Yeah.
Exactly. And then young children and more so young adults coming into the workplace, you'll see that their phone is in fact in front of them, face side up. Yeah. And so what they're doing is they're working, but they're able to still see what's directly in front of them, what's happening in their phone.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's so ridiculous.
I can't do that. My brain can't focus.
Oh yeah.
I know you couldn't because you've got cone vision, but yeah, no, I couldn't make that work for me. But I hear you. Yeah, and because it's rewired our brains, and I know it has for us as well. You mentioned the study before that I can't remember what the percentage was, but people wake up and the first thing they do is they go on social media. I have seen this. I've seen it a lot. I used to do it. I became aware of doing it, and I've forced myself to stop. I actually don't look at my phone for the first hour and a half that I'm awake. Yeah. Other than turning alarms off, because that's my vulnerable brain moment. Yeah. And it's so early in the morning. I don't want to ruin it with just noise and crap. And similar with going to bed. Yeah. I won't sit on social media for 40 minutes to an hour before I go to bed. I'll try not to look at a screen. The TV is always on there.
It's so hard though. Yeah. No, you're right. Like, unless you're actively pursuing to not be on social media and move away from it, at this point, I would say I'm addicted to it. Definitely. Yeah. If I don't put parameters in place to be able to limit that and be educated and be aware of it, I'm definitely addicted to it.
Yeah, for sure.
Part of our job as well. It's very hard to, as a marketer, to separate the two.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Yeah.
I definitely hear you. So that was Simon Sinek actually. That was when he did a talk in 2019 that I listened to, which I will put in our show notes because it's a 15-minute talk and it's actually really, really interesting. It is more focused on millennials and the social media implications on millennials, but it's very relevant and it pertains to this argument of, is social media toxic? It definitely is. And it's definitely addictive. And to Linda's point, it releases that dopamine, which is the natural drug that is released in your natural chemical released in your brain when you smoke, drink, and gamble. Yeah. And to that point, depending on everyone's moral beliefs and values, there's nothing wrong with a little bit of drinking. There's nothing nothing wrong.
I thought we were going to go a different way there.
What? I don't know what you thought PG. I was going to say. We'll keep this PG, Linda. Nothing wrong with a little bit of smoking cigarettes. There's nothing wrong with it.
Come on, T. I'm going to like politely decline.
With a little bit of gambling, right? It's when we have an imbalance of it that it becomes bad and it's not good. And that is the same with social media. There's nothing wrong with social media. I love putting pictures of my weekend up on Facebook and Instagram for my family all over the world and friends all over Australia, or even just in Sydney that I don't see in person, to see what we've been up to, and to share my ups. Yes, I don't put a lot of negative stuff online because I don't want to.
Yeah.
People know that you're going to go through shit times. You have to share that. If someone asks me something, I'm not going to not share it with them. I just choose not to put that stuff up online.
Yeah.
I am following a whole bunch of other mummy bloggers, though, that do put up all the bad moments with their toddlers, and I'm appreciative of that because it makes me think, oh, thank God I'm not the only one. But, to look to that
point. There is
point.
a bit more of a movement of that online, I will say. Like, I definitely have friends who have moved into that space where they're trying to raise awareness, of issues that people are facing behind closed doors with social media. And like to our point when we talk about body dysmorphia and, filters, they're really trying to shed light
Injustice,
on. The reality behind social media.
Yeah, because the reach is incredible. So I think what's happening now, we're starting to see the phase and the new generation and the leveraging these social tools, one, finding the right balance, and two, using them for good and in opening those doors and those pathways up for sharing a voice and to be heard and to connect with people.
Tia, I have a question.
Yeah.
So obviously people talk about the fact that social media, there's still that good element because you're able to connect with people, your friends, your family in ways that you never used to be able to. And it's obviously very instant. You can see each other's lives, instant message each other.
Yeah.
But as we know, loneliness as a whole, it's on a rise.
Yeah.
So I guess there's an argument or a question around, like, do you think that social media is just creating surface level or developing surface level relationships and friendships and not actually benefiting towards them like some people say? You know what I mean? Because loneliness is on the rise with young children, with adolescents. We know that it's increasing.
Yeah, 100%. In a world where we're so connected, we are still so just as disconnected as we were, probably if not more, with social media. Because to your point of, it's surface level. It's not getting any further than, oh, I see you had a nice weekend. I liked the pictures. That's it.
Yeah, is it really helping develop those deep relationships that we had pre-social media?
Probably not. And maybe that's this new challenge that people need to overcome. And so when you meet people or when you reconnect with people in person, or if it's via FaceTimes or some type of virtual calling, it's more than just, hey, how was your weekend?
Yeah.
It's a deeper conversation you try and have with someone. You keep asking that, don't accept the first answer.
Yeah.
Keep asking more questions to their answer.
Go that level deeper.
Yeah, really, just dig in a little bit with people that you want to. Obviously, you don't have to be deep and meaningful with everyone. But if you want deep and meaningful relationships, it's not going to happen on social media.
Yeah.
It's just not going to happen.
Yeah.
And just to be clear, social media, when we're talking about it here, guys, it's actually referring to Facebook. I think Linda mentioned most of them. Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, Snapchat, what's that other one? Twitter and YouTube.
Yeah.
Pretty
well
much.
done.
Well, I'm sure I've missed one. I'm sure I've missed one somewhere. But it's incredible. It's just incredible how many there are and how much time it takes up on you. I know every Sunday I get that notification from the Screen Time app on my iPhone.
Yeah.
That says, this week you spent 9% more time.
I really like that. I enjoy that.
Yeah. And then when you click into it, it breaks it down into what apps you spent the most time on. Honestly, mine's probably Instagram. I think it's Instagram followed by like messages or something, like Facebook Messengers.
Mine's Instagram.
The two, like they're the top two competing for me. And
it's so bittersweet getting that notification because it's really good because it can make you kind of reflect on your week, put in new habits if you need to. But at the same time, you're like, shit.
You're like, did I really spend
too much time?
7 hours this week on Instagram? It's crazy. It really, it's pretty confronting. So my recommendation to anyone listening that might be thinking, I don't think I spend that much time on social media. Go and check out that on your iPhone. I don't know about Androids, but see how much it is, and it'll be a bit of a reality shock, I think. Remember, YouTube's included in there. I'm not a big YouTube fan, but I know a lot of the team members here spend a lot of time on YouTube as well.
On that as well, we're not saying don't spend any time on social media.
No.
But what I am saying is just question your habits.
Yeah.
Just question them.
Yep.
how long am I spending on there? What am I looking at when I'm on there?
Are you looking at it when you wake up?
When am I on there?
Are you on social media when you're in bed? You know, in these safe places where your mind should be kept to yourself and not to instant gratification, dopamine releases, comparing yourself to others, unreal realities, like all that stuff that comes out of social media. And remember what you see on social media isn't always the truth.
Yeah.
And people will put filters and they will make things out to be better or worse than what they are.
And even with comparing yourself, I mean, naturally we're programmed to, our brain is naturally programmed to protect us, right? Yes. And so the way that we do that is we look to things around us in an environment and we do comparisons to see, okay, like, you know, is my job good enough? Am I in a good enough relationship?
Yep.
And so our brain naturally will want to do those comparisons, but our benchmark on social media really shouldn't be taken.
No.
You know,
definitely not. You can't. Yeah, you've got to when you see someone maybe same age, same job, same income statement. If you get the reference, it's a superannuation ad that I just referenced.
Okay. I didn't get it.
That's all right. Someone will that's listening. Hopefully, please, if you get it, let me know. You could see that the same, right? And you know maybe one person's got a more senior title. Let's just say.
Yeah.
Like like you said, it's natural for you to want to try and compare and then your brain to protect and make up these reasons and excuses. And I honestly don't know how to say stop doing that, but stop doing that. If that's you, I know this is much for me than it is for anyone listening. Stop comparing. Do your own things. Swim in your own lane.
Yeah.
And you will get to where you need to get to.
Yeah.
And use social media as a tool. I know for us, we didn't talk too much about LinkedIn, but I know you and I and Moby, we are using LinkedIn as a tool to help us be better communicators, to grow our personal brands and our business brand. There's a reason why we're using it for the way we're using it and to, you know, to obviously share our voice with our opinions.
Yeah. On that note as well, T, what I will say to anyone listening is also educate yourself.
Yep.
Just around kind of some of the topics that we spoke about, because we're really seeing a really negative impact on social media with our growing, you know, teenagers and young adults. And so I would say just, if anything, just make sure you're educated just on what happens when we spend so much time on social media in our brain, you know, mentally how we feel. So that way, you know, whether it's your own parenting style, whether it's your own application to your daily life, I think the takeaway is like it's less about like don't do this, don't do that, but just be educated and just question your habits.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
Awesome. Linda, anything else you want to add on today's episode?
No, I really enjoy this one because we spend so much of our time on social media due to the work that we do.
Yeah.
And obviously we see so many benefits from a business point of view and a personal branding point of view when it comes to social media. But often in our daily, you know, interactions, we don't talk about what social media can do and be a detriment
what it's doing.
Yeah.
But I love what you said. Be educated and be aware of your habits.
Exactly, yeah.
If you can be educated and aware of your habits, you can make change.
I like it.
Woohoo! I love it. All right. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any feedback or you would like to suggest a topic idea, we are all ears. Hit us up on LinkedIn. It's Linda D'Amico, Tasha Del Bianco, and you've been a pleasure talking to, and we will speak to you next time.
Thanks. Bye.